Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of Fireside Chats. I am your host, Liz Fickenshire, e-commerce marketing manager at Ecommetrics. I've got with me today my friend Don Henig. He is the co-founder of AccrueMe, which is a really disruptive, cool company in the e-commerce space. We're going to learn all about it today. Don, thank you for joining me. How are you today?
What? I'm doing great. Thanks, Liz. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. It's a Friday. We're all tired. We're still doing this COVID thing. I know that doesn't make this evergreen, but you guys have to know what's going on. It's crazy times. I know that every seller, every brand that I've talked to has said that there's something going on that just makes it the weirdest year ever. But I want to use this series to introduce you to industry people that we trust here at Techometrics that are personal friends of mine so that we can sort of develop a community of thought and we know who to turn to when we've got questions, and we're all part of the same big e-commerce family. So without further ado, Don, you're in the hot seat. I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Right.
Through the discussions that we've had, you have had a very interesting life and career. Tell me a little bit about your career prior to e-commerce.
It's been interesting and fun. I've done just about everything, but mainly finance. So I started as a financial planning, opened my own financial planning business, which led me into the mortgage world, opened a mortgage company, built it to one of the largest in New York State and sold that. Just one thing after another, publishing company, publishing soccer newspapers at the time. I started that and sold that. I built and started a mortgage broker franchise nationwide and sold that. I built an entertainment company, never knew anything about entertainment, just like I never knew anything about publishing or the mortgage business. And I started an entertainment company, did 8 feature-length films with the biggest names in Hollywood, and a Broadway show called Rock of Ages, which was a huge hit. A lot of fun. Yeah, you have that look on your face.
I liked that
Yeah,
one a lot.
it was a great show. Oh, it was a great show. It was so much fun, really so much fun. I got into buying and selling foreclosures for 18 months. I bought and sold 300 houses. It was great, but I didn't really enjoy it, so I stopped. It was very profitable, but it just wasn't for me. Built another mortgage company nationwide, one of the largest in the nation. Actually, 2 more. And then I took another period of time off. I've done that a few times. And this last time I took 5 years off, and then started talking about what's next. And I really wasn't looking to get back in, but an old friend of mine started talking to me about Amazon, and that led me to coming up with a completely unique model. So I don't know
And
if you want me
before
to
we get
continue
into
or
before we get into that, I want to draw a comparison between our shared experiences because I was the same way. I mean, I wasn't getting ready to retire or anything like that. I think you've been in and out of retirement. Well, this is the third time for you where you're like, oh, I don't need to
yeah,
work anymore, but I want to work. For me, I was a freelance writer for years and years. I learned about third-party Amazon sellers and I was like, what? This is
yeah,
so cool. And I got obsessed with entrepreneurship. I got obsessed with how difficult it is to sell on Amazon, but how rewarding it can be. And I geeked out hard basically and just dove headfirst in and said, what can I do to support this community because this matters to me? And I think you're the same way. When you and I met the first time, I was
yep,
like, we're on the totally same page because we both feel the same way
yep.
about this community. So I've tried to support this community with great content and with a listening ear and a good shoulder to cry on. You, however, got a big bucket of money to give them. So why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Sure, but you know just like you actually, what intrigued me about the Amazon seller world is that for the most part they're small businesses and they're small business people. And what I do, I hate to say it as a hobby, but what I do as a part of my life is, mentor people and help them start businesses or grow businesses, not to make money from it, but just to help them. So I saw this as a great opportunity to help a lot of people. And then we put a model together so that we could make money at it too. So even better. But we came up with something completely unique, something that's never been done before. Nobody's ever tried it, where we will actually double the capital that an Amazon seller has. So we'll give them more money than any bank or any lender will give them so that they can grow that much bigger. And to make it even better, we don't require any monthly payments, which is completely unique. Obviously, there's no interest rate, there's no payments. Exactly, there's no payments, and we don't take any ownership in the business either. So that when they sell the business, they keep all the benefit. Go ahead, Liz. You have that question, that
I think
questionable
it's
look on your
probably the
face.
same question that everybody asks you, is that if you don't charge interest and you don't require monthly payments, how do you make money? Or is that something you can't disclose?
Right. Well, no, we disclose anything and everything. What we do is very simple. It really is more simple than a loan, actually, but there's been lending going on for 2,000 years, so people understand it. What we're doing is something a little unique, where what we do is we take a percentage of profits for as long as the seller wants to use our money. So if the seller doesn't make money, what do we earn? Zero. We get nothing. We take all that risk. And I'll tell you that last, February, March, April, we had sellers that were doing great, like really kicking ass. And then all of a sudden breaking even, and a couple of them losing money. They owed us nothing. And one guy actually said to me, he goes, Don, if I had to make monthly payments on this, I'd be out of business. And he's right. He would have been out of business. But he not only didn't have to make monthly payments, but he owed us zero, nothing. We earn nothing. And what do we do with that? All we want to do is, help. And you talk about having a shoulder to cry on. We had to talk to these guys and help them through it, and give the long vision of a business. It's not, you're in it for a month. No, you're in this for a long, long time, and you're going to build a real business, and you're going to have ups and downs. So I'll give you a quick thing that I remember from years ago. I saw when I was starting in my business career, and I was in somebody's house. They were a landscaper, and I was taking a mortgage, writing a mortgage for them. And I'll never forget the sign that was on their refrigerator, and it stuck with me this long. This is a long time ago. It said, "Sometimes owning your own business is as overrated as mom's apple pie." And so, the idea, right? So the idea, your mom's apple pie might be great. And,
Not
I don't remember my
overrated
mother
at
ever
all.
making it. All right. All right.
If mom's watching this, she knows. She knows.
Yeah, there you go. But it rang true to me so many times in my career. And I'm sure, I know it rings true for Amazon sellers, very, very, very often, because I talk to so many of them, that you have ups and downs, you have good times and bad times. And when you have those bad times, having somebody who's been through it before help you and guide you and give you a little bit of encouragement, that's a big plus, very big plus.
Well,
so, yeah, go ahead.
And you're making your way around the industry. I see you on different podcasts and all that kind of stuff. So you're making the kind of contacts that if a seller or a brand is having trouble and they reach that point, you can say, well, hey, have you thought about, like, obviously you've got an inventory problem, or obviously, you've got these ASINs you could advertise, or obviously your metrics aren't good, your ODR is down, like you're learning enough about the business and the industry and Amazon specifically to be able to say, hey, you should talk to this person over there. And that's probably it's the reason we're doing this series, and it's probably one of the most powerful things about this industry is the people in it and the networks we have, where we can say, okay, well, I don't do that specifically, but let me introduce you to. And you're building that network. I'm watching you build that network, and it's delightful.
Well, you've been very helpful, and I appreciate it. To tell you the truth, it's been great. It really has been. But you're absolutely right. I've introduced our sellers, on an individual basis to various people in the industry that can help them with whatever the situation is that they're going through at the time. And I can, there's plenty of stories of it. But it's fun. It's great. And it's good for us as well, as it turns out, because all we care about is helping the seller make more money. If they make more money, we make more money. And it's that simple. So we have this concept. Have you ever heard of Einstein when he said, it was a compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world? And the quote goes on a little further and he says, those who understand it earn it, and those who don't pay it. So we took the whole idea of Einstein, compounding and compound interest, and we look at it as an Einstein mentality. You can have a mentality in this business or any business to just go along and just keep moving along and paying your bills. Or you could have an Einstein mentality where you're going to grow rapidly and really grow that business. And what that means, and what we do to help these people, is we'll give them so much more money than they can get on their own. And by not making monthly payments and leaving that money in the business, they can grow that much faster. So for the Amazon sellers that are looking to really grow, there is nothing better than what we're doing. We are like fuel on a fire. If they're looking to pay their bills and all of that from week to week and month to month, that's not really us. There are plenty of great options for them with that. So we love the whole Einstein mentality, the Einstein returns, really looking for those sellers that are looking to really just bust it out and get to their dreams, make something really big happen for themselves.
I love that.
That's what we're in it for.
So
yeah, it's great. It's really great.
To get into the nitty gritty, what's the process? So I'm a seller. I realize, crap, it's Q4. I need more inventory. And I go to you. What happens next?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. We ask for their credentials so we can see the inventory. We're not looking at their credit reports. We're not looking at their financial statements, their tax returns. This is not a loan. We're actually investing in them. So we're looking at is their inventory, how it turns over, what their profit is on that. And we're analyzing them as a real business and what they're doing. And then we make an offer, we make a proposal from there. But it's typically, 100% of what they have in the business. And by what do I mean by that? How much money do they have in inventory at cost, plus whatever amount is due from Amazon, plus whatever cash is in the bank. And that's how much they have in the business. And we'll match that. We'll give them that amount of money. But, let's say they have $100,000 and we offer them $100,000. They don't have to take $100,000. What we suggest is to take the least amount that you need today. It might be $10,000. Great. Take $10,000. Come back in 2 weeks and say, hey, I need another $20,000. Beautiful. It's there the same day, like an hour later. Come back a month or two later and say, I need $50,000. Beautiful. If you can use the money, that's the whole idea. There's only one way an Amazon seller can lose with us. There's only one way. And that's if they take our money and they leave it in the bank. Then they're paying us and they're not getting any benefit out of it. So we do everything we can to coach them not to do that. Use our money, but use it to grow your business. And
so it's a very personal interaction is what you're saying. It's not like you've got an automated and nobody talks to you. Nobody talks to a person. It's a conversation about investing in a seller's business. And I love that about your model.
Exactly.
I love, and that's on top of the extremely different lending model, that personal touch and that, because it's not an absolute thing. If you decide it's an acceptable risk and somebody's numbers aren't quite where they would normally be, you could still decide to help them out. You could still decide to invest in their business. So
absolutely.
I love that you've got that personal
and we do.
touch. That's tremendous. You guys,
and we love that too.
Well, and how much do you learn by talking to these people? I mean, these are entrepreneurs. This is the Wild West still. It's 2020 and Amazon is still the Wild West.
Oh, so yeah, big time.
It's just a remarkable industry. So
you're just staying with that. How much do we learn? We learn so much by talking to them. And I talk to almost all of them because I really enjoy that part of it. But we don't just learn about their business. We also learn about their story. How did they get there? What got them to the point of starting the business? We ask them every time, what are their goals? Very often, like this guy I was talking to just, I don't know, 2 days ago, and I said to him, I don't think you really are, qualified for us. Like, I don't think that our money is right for you. I said, why? I said, because it sounds to me like you're not looking to grow. He goes, what? And what I told you said that it came off that way. And I said, well, you were talking about, you lost this and you lost that, and now you're just getting back on your feet. It sounds like you're more like trying to maintain. And he goes, no, my goal. And he started telling us about his dreams and his goals and where he was going before something happened within Amazon that screwed him up a couple months ago. And he goes, I want to get back on that train and grow this thing bigger than ever. I'm pissed now. I'm like, I misunderstood. But knowing this about people and understanding their stories, that's the fun part. It's great. I love that.
Oh, that's my favorite
now I'm
too.
rooting for him.
Right. Well, and that's a shameless plug for another project I'm working on here at Ecometrics. But what we're doing, we're also doing brand stories where we're not talking about what we did for a brand or how we reduced their ACOS or whatever. We're talking about how did it happen? What lightning bolt struck you or your relative or this other person, but how did it all happen? How was the brand born?
Yeah.
How was the idea born? How were the products born? And tell me about your journey into e-commerce. And so that's coming soon, shameless plug. But
that's great. I love that.
It's just, I'm an enormous nerd about all this, just as you know, because you've known me for a while now.
That's great.
Let's talk a little bit, because this video is being made in November of 2020. It's the week before Thanksgiving. We're right in the thick of Q4. It was a weird Prime Day right at the beginning of Q4. Cyber Week is coming soon. We've got Black Friday. We've got Cyber Monday. Where I'm actually doing a webinar soon with another one of my industry friends the week of Thanksgiving about, like, is Q4 really awful? Here are some things you can do to turn it around. But Don, what are you seeing with the people that you're talking to that are the biggest challenges that Amazon sellers are facing right now? 2020, mid-pandemic, what are the top 3 pain points?
It's interesting. As I'm talking to people, I'm not hearing a lot of pain. I'm hearing the biggest pain actually is the slow turn time getting inventory from China. That's by far the biggest pain. But besides that, talking to people earlier in the year when COVID was just hitting, a lot of people were like, I'm getting killed, or I don't know what the future is, and things like that. There was a lot of fear. I'm not hearing any fear now. I'm seeing the sellers are, I know what this is. I know I'm going to get thrown a curveball. I'm okay with that. I'll figure it out. I'm not afraid of this market at all. And what they're talking to me now about now is growing in Q1 and Q2, which is interesting, as opposed to just growing in Q4. They're looking at next year, like, they're all saying the same thing. I really want to kick ass next year. I did good this year, but I want to blow it out next year. So I'm not hearing any more fear. I hear pain with China. I think there are going to be some good solutions, which you and I have discussed.
Right.
I think, yeah,
coming
right.
soon.
Exactly. Exciting.
It's not fair for us to know secrets, but we know secrets. No, that's great. I'm seeing inventory challenges. Definitely. I'm seeing people having trouble with sell through on slow moving ASINs. We've got lots of advice on when that comes, but I'm also seeing people running out of stock because of this China issue.
You're absolutely right.
Well, because nobody knew when Prime Day was going to be. So nobody knew to stock for Prime Day. Prime Day actually wasn't, from what I'm hearing, all that great for a lot of third-party sellers. Some of them, it was fantastic. It just always runs the gamut. But
Yep.
It was hard to anticipate, especially when COVID first started and Amazon throttled the amount of inventory you could send into FBA, restricted certain items from FBA because they were preparing for, we need PPE, we need hand sanitizer, we need that kind of stuff. And that was necessary, and Amazon responded to what was happening in the world, and that's what we would expect them to do. But it
Right.
messed up the inventory counts and the supply chain for a lot of Amazon sellers, a lot of third-party sellers. So I am seeing that, seeing dips in the inventory performance index as a result of that, which always messes up Q1 for everybody. So that's already locked in stone, but you don't want to mess up Q2 as well. So it's you still got to pay attention to inventory, all that kind of stuff. I am hearing people that need more financing. You know, they just need a little bit more capital.
Everybody.
Yeah, just a little bit more money, you know, and the holidays, and it's just, so, and I'm not hearing a whole lot of grumble. I'm hearing a lot of, okay, I really need to be strategic right now. I hear a lot of, I need to get through now because next year's got to really count. I hear a lot of, I'm going to grow, I'm going to expand my product offerings, I'm going to develop a private label, I'm already a brand, I'm going to introduce new products, I'm going to amp up my advertising, I'm going to completely redo my image, redo my A+ content, make sure my storefront is just as gorgeous as it can be. I mean, I hear a lot of hope, and that makes me so happy. So happy.
I agree.
All right, we've gotten into the fun part of the interview here. I will say that if you want to talk to Don about amping up your business and supercharging your business with a little bit more capital, we'll put a link in the bio here. We're going to be writing this up, but we'll give you a chance to check out the AccrueMe website, which is gorgeous. Make sure you follow them on social media. Obviously, make sure you follow us on social media if you're not already. If you're not, shame on you. But Don, what is your morning routine? What does a day start like for Don Hennig?
Oh, wow. You know, I find that a morning routine is very important, and it's very important to me since I started one about 10 or 15 years ago. And what I do is I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I was never that 5:30 guy, but I'm a 5:30 guy now. Sorry. So I get up at 5:30. I have a cup of coffee, and I sit at my desk with a gratitude journal. I put pictures out on my desk of my parents who have passed, my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, my in-laws, all people that, you know, have given me love and support throughout my life that mean an awful lot to me. And every single morning I say thank you. And I mean it from the, you know, bottom of my heart. And it causes me to think of different times in my life and different memories that I would never have thought of. And then I write in this simple journal, you know, 3 things that I'm grateful for, 3 things that will make today great, and then just a statement, I am. And then I complete that statement. And that's the basics of my morning. And then I do one of two things. Either I go to the gym and I do high intensity interval training, or I do a little intense ab workout and some stretching and about a 40-minute, 45-minute infrared sauna session for detoxing. And that's where I start my day. And now by, you know, 8:30, 8:15, 8:30, I am ready to go, you know, body, mind, and soul, everything. It's a great way to start the day.
And now that we all feel a little like we need to be better people, that's awesome. I especially love the gratitude journal thing. I think that's something that as we go into the holidays, as we get into colder weather, that's awesome. We might want to put a link to that too, so you guys can pick up on some of the Don tips on better living and more mindful living, right? Because that's part of it.
It's good stuff.
A couple more weirdo questions, although I'm trying to blink back tears over that last one. What's the strangest job you've ever had? And then I'll tell you mine, just because that's fun.
All right, great. Now I'm more anxious to hear yours than to say about mine. I've had so many like crazy jobs. Like, you know, I was the top salesperson for the Long Island Press when I was 11 years old on all of Long Island. I owned a ice cream truck at 19, made a fortune with that. But then strange jobs. I sold vacuums door to door. I sold Funk and Wagnall encyclopedias, these big, thick encyclopedias, door to door in the winter to businesses. It was brutal, brutal. But I'm going to say the last one I'd say is in the middle of the night after restaurants would close. I made deals with different restaurants when I hurt my knee at one point and couldn't do many other things. I would go out in the middle of the night and clean their bathrooms and their toilets and their floors, and so that they'd come in the morning, the restaurant was good to go, and I made money overnight. That would be
Wow.
mine.
That's amazing. You've done so many things. And I think that that's a common thread in the industry is like we've all worn a lot of hats and then we landed here and we're like, yeah, this is where I'm going to stay. For me, it's probably a toss up. I was a karaoke host and wedding DJ for 5 years. So
Wow.
when anyone's approached me about a business development type job, they've been like, oh, you'll be fine, because you can't get nervous about public speaking when you've sung karaoke in a room full of drunk lawyers. But before that, I was actually a little kid's birthday party entertainer. So I would dress up as
Oh,
characters, or
wow.
I would put on the big head. And when you wore the big head, all you had to do was like, dance around and that kind of stuff, and let people hug you. But when you dressed up as a character, and at that time I was in my early 20s, and so I made a great Cinderella, or with a red wig Ariel, and all the princesses were popular at that time. But you did face painting and you did balloon sculpture. So I do know a little bit of balloon sculpture that has carried into my later years. And we would do activities and stuff like that. I got fired because I would always stay extra and not charge the family. So I'd be there and all the kids would be having so much fun, and I would hate till they would be so sad that I was leaving. So I'd stay an extra hour and not charge the family for an extra hour. And they were like, you can't keep doing that. And I was like, I'm going to keep doing that until you fire me. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
probably,
That's great.
it was strange and delightful. And I'm glad I did that because it was a lot of fun. But yeah, enough about
I
me.
love it. So along the same lines, I didn't even remember this, but I actually have a different name. My magician name is Houdani. So I did balloon
Magician.
things, and I've got thousands. I have a guillotine. I have thousands of dollars of magic tricks. I used to do a lot of shows and just for fun. Yeah, close up magic,
Wow. Well, when the world
fun.
opens back up,
Houdani.
Houdani, when the world opens back up,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to do a special edition where you do some tricks
I'm
for
in.
us. But you're gonna have to come to the office and we'll just
All
film
right.
all that stuff. It's not that far for you. Office is in
No.
Boston, you're in New York. It's just a hop skip.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on time. I want to ask you one more question. It's a little more business related, but you've started so many businesses. Do you have like theories or tips that have sort of like spanned the thread of your professional and personal experience that you think that other entrepreneurs would find valuable?
Yeah, there's so many, but I'm going to give you two that I think of right off the top. And the first one is, yeah, exactly. The first one is start stupid. Start stupid. You will never know everything. You will never have all the answers. If you wait until you have all the answers, you will be filled with fear. You will never get it done. You'll never start. Because if you knew all the headaches that an Amazon seller has before you jumped into it, you would never do it. But if you jump into it and you figure it out as you go in any business, and you just keep taking that next step, and you keep learning and you keep maneuvering, and you get there, you'll get there. But just start stupid. And the other thing I always think about is something is the corridor effect. So think about a long hallway. When you're starting a business, you can't see down that long hallway. You can't see where the windows are and the doors are, or where the obstacles are, that you're going to trip over. But I guarantee you're going to have obstacles you're going to trip over. And I also guarantee you that there will be doors and windows open that you can't see when you're starting. So however you start your business, expect it to change, expect it to morph into something else as you go. Just be nimble to change with that business, and you'll kick ass. That's where I look at it.
I love it. Don, thank you so much. This has been such a treat. Everybody, Don Hennig with AccrueMe. There'll be links, there'll be resources. He is willing to talk to you. I suggest that you do, even if it's just a meet and greet. He's a heck of a nice guy. I'm Liz Fickenshire with Takeometrics. I'm the e-commerce marketing manager here. This has been an edition of Fireside Chat, and we'll see you guys next time.